My husband hid a camera in our bedroom, faked a birth plan to deny me pain relief, and did the unspeakable to me while I was in labor. When I sobbed and begged him to stop, he leaned in and whispered, "Real wives take it." I was silent when it was my turn. That nightmare happened 19 months ago. Now, his parents pretend he never existed. Pregnancy opened my eyes. Travis wasn't different. He was disturbed. One day he was charming. The next he was unrecognizable and terrifying. By the 4th month, he warned that my belly was too provocative and accused me of trying to tempt men. If I didn't cover up, he called me disgusting things. Things no pregnant woman should hear. What looked like protectiveness to others felt like a prison cell with no windows to me. He downloaded a tracking app under the guise of safety, but really it was surveillance. He insisted it was for the baby. But I knew better. Even in 100-degree heat, he demanded I wear a trench coat like a walking furnace. His excuse? It's to keep you safe from predators. As if I was being hunted. I convinced myself it was just overprotectiveness, a phase, something that would fade after birth. Surprise, it only got worse. Soon he started locking his office and clearing his browsing history, like he was hiding a double life. It was all new behavior, and it screamed secrets. Cheating wasn't the concern. There were no other women, just him and his obsessions. His office was a boys-only club, nothing suspicious, just controlled. 70-hour work weeks, or so he said. That's when his jokes started, crude, humiliating things he thought were funny. They started mild, almost playful. "Pregnancy's sexy," he'd say, smirking, smacking my behind like I was property. He'd laugh and call me his breeding queen. I used to laugh it off, thinking it was just dumb guy stuff. But soon, those jokes weren't jokes anymore. They were warnings. While checking baby tips on his laptop, I saw disturbing search suggestions. Tons of searches about myophilia. Go look it up if you don't know. I wish I hadn't. He'd watched endless footage of women in labor, over and over again. But I didn't confront him. I was scared. Terrified, actually. Partly out of fear he'd explode, but mostly, my body was already falling apart. Every morning was a battle, an hour of vomiting that left me weak. I could barely stand, felt like my spine would snap if I moved wrong. I ignored my instincts and let silence keep the peace, and that silence cost me more than I could have imagined. The lesson hit me the second my water broke. I reached for my phone to call my sister. Travis ripped it out of my hand like I was a prisoner. "Hey Gabby, no need to come. We've got it all handled," he lied with a forced calm. "We'll call you later," he added, ending the call like it was a business meeting. I wanted to scream, to tear into him, but the pain swallowed every word. All I could do was breathe and pray I wouldn't black out on the way to the hospital. By the time we arrived, I was desperate, begging for an epidural like it was water in a desert. The pain was so intense it felt like my bones were cracking open, like every nerve was trying to claw its way out through my hips. But the moment relief arrived, Travis stepped in and blocked it like a gatekeeper to hell. "Natural birth only," he lied, waving some fake paperwork like a twisted badge of control. A forged birth plan, one I never wrote, one he used to silence me. My mind spiraled into chaos. I couldn't tell what was real anymore. The second we were alone, I thought maybe he'd help. I hoped, begged, for something to ease the agony. But instead, he turned to me with cold, dead eyes. As I sobbed, pleading, he just stared like I was entertainment. "Stop whining," he snapped. "I know how to fix this." His eyes were cold, unforgiving. "You want pain relief?" he hissed. "Prove you deserve it. Serve your husband." The moment he said those words, I latched onto them like a lifeline. I just wanted the agony to stop, no matter the cost. When the doctor came in to check, he pulled me back. I was too broken to think. I leaned into the arms of the monster who hurt me. I let him stroke my hair, like nothing had happened. Travis dismissed the doctor, claiming I needed space. She looked at me, uncertain, hesitant, but I was paralyzed. Pain stole my voice, so she believed him and walked away. What happened in that room haunts me in my sleep. I won't describe it, but imagine the worst, then make it darker. That's what he did. When my daughter finally arrived, Travis looked like he'd just fought a war, while I was the one who'd nearly died. As he passed out in the chair like nothing happened, I shakily dialed my parents and Gabby. They didn't speak. They just held me while I sobbed like my soul was splitting in half. I never wanted to relive that horror, but I had to protect Luna. Silence wasn't an option anymore. So I typed everything out, every vile detail, and sent it. My dad didn't hesitate. He threatened Travis and forced him to vanish. The moment Travis was gone, my body collapsed into sleep for the first time in days. What I didn't know was that my dad was already setting justice in motion, and my life was about to pivot forever. I woke to Luna's cry, raw, real, grounding. The nurse placed her gently in my arms, and the world quieted for a moment. My body was wrecked, but her weight in my arms dulled the pain, even just briefly. My mother brushed my hair back like I was a child again, tender, protective. Gabby paced like a lioness, eyes darting between me and the door, phone clutched tight. My dad was gone. Travis's name was a ghost no one dared speak. We remained at the hospital for 48 hours that felt like limbo. The nurses were kind, but their whispers behind the curtain told another story. Snippets reached me. Husband, controlling, something's off. One nurse, Marissa, lingered, her eyes saying what her mouth couldn't. Before I left, she slipped a card into my hand. Women's Resource Center. My parents insisted I come stay with them. I didn't resist. I was too broken to. I packed in silence, never once glancing at the bed where he had slept. Just as we walked out, my dad appeared, hands bruised. His fists looked like they'd met someone's face. He wouldn't meet my gaze, as if shielding me from what he'd done. I didn't ask questions. The first week at my parents' house passed in a blur of sleepless nights and diaper changes. Every vibration felt like a warning shot. Travis blew up my phone, first with fake remorse, then rage-fueled demands. I blocked him the moment he messaged, "I miss watching you feed her." My dad later told me what went down that day, what he did after we said goodbye. He stormed into the house, packed my things, and waited like a lion for his prey. When Travis came home, Dad cornered him with the truth. Travis denied everything, claimed I was hormonal and confused. That was the moment my dad snapped. He spared me the details, but promised Travis wouldn't dare come near us again. I thought the nightmare was over. I couldn't have been more wrong. 2 weeks in, I was desperately trying to create normalcy amidst chaos. Mom rocked Luna while I took my first real shower in days. I stepped out and saw my phone buzzing like a warning siren. Travis had created a private group chat, pulling in family, friends, everyone. He posted a novel accusing me of being delusional, dangerous, and keeping his child from him. He painted himself as the victim, the loving father denied access by a hysterical mother. My hands trembled violently as I read the flood of sympathy for him. Strangers and relatives alike sent prayers to Travis. His parents whined publicly about being robbed of their grandparent rights. My cousin Marcus messaged me privately, suggesting therapy, as if I were the one who lost touch with reality. I hurled the phone across the room like it had burned me. My mother burst in, panic written all over her face. I couldn't form words, just sobbed uncontrollably. She read the messages, her face hardening, and called my dad instantly. In less than an hour, my parents had shifted into battle mode. Gabby stayed to guard me and Luna while my parents confronted the storm. That night, sleep was a stranger. I kept checking on Luna, certain Travis would burst through the window like a monster from a nightmare. Gabby brought movies and junk food, but nothing silenced the pounding fear. At midnight, the sound of tires on gravel froze my blood. I peeked out and saw his car. He'd found us. My heart slammed against my ribs like it was trying to escape. Gabby dialed 911, and I scooped Luna up like she might vanish. We barricaded ourselves in the bathroom, shaking. Travis's fists hit the door like thunder, his voice slicing the night. Every second stretched unbearably until the sirens pierced the night. Silence fell like a dropped curtain. From the bathroom window, I saw cops confronting him in the driveway. He waved his arms, shouting, pointing at our home like he owned it. Eventually, they made him leave. My parents came back at dawn, their faces set with quiet fury. They had gone straight to Dana Novak, a lawyer and an old friend. She helped them file an emergency restraining order within hours. Dad handed me a thick folder, divorce papers. It was all done. All I had to do was sign. Just a signature to end a nightmare. I thought I'd feel relief. But I was hollow. This wasn't the future I imagined. Everything was not like this. We met in college, and for years, Travis played the perfect boyfriend. Charming, thoughtful, even a little goofy. But now I wonder, was any of that real? Or was it all a mask waiting to slip off once he had me completely? The restraining order should have meant safety. But Travis treated it like a challenge. He began flooding my parents' porch with lavish gifts, designer baby clothes, imported toys, a crib fit for royalty. Every package came with a sickly sweet note. Missing my two favorite girls every second. I trashed every single one without a second glance. A month after giving birth, I finally sat down with Dana to map out the divorce. Dana was calm, sharp. As I recounted what Travis had done, her professional mask cracked. Just for a second. "This is criminal," she said flatly. "He assaulted you, in a delivery room. We could pursue charges if you're ready." The idea of testifying made my skin crawl. "I don't care about justice," I whispered. "I care about Luna." She nodded. "Then we'll make sure he never gets near her again. Start documenting everything. Every contact, every gift, every creepy move." I filled notebook after notebook with timelines, texts, and late-night paranoia. Travis fought it, naturally. He wanted shared custody, like he was some normal dad. Just imagining Luna alone with him sent me into a panic. Dana assured me. With his record, supervised visits are the best-case scenario for him. 3 months in, I returned to the house with Dad and my brother-in-law, Theo. Travis's office was gutted. No electronics, no papers, not even a chair. Then I found the box. Hidden behind old shoes, dozens of USB drives labeled with dates from my pregnancy. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the drives as I handed them to Dad. We rushed them straight to Dana's office without saying a word. Her tech expert, Vincent, plugged them in while we held our breath. They were filled with secret footage, me undressing, showering, sleeping, filmed throughout my pregnancy without consent. Some folders contained graphic birth videos with my face digitally stitched onto strangers' bodies. Dana didn't hesitate. She filed for an emergency upgrade to the protective order. The judge granted me full temporary custody on the spot. Travis was barred from seeing or contacting Luna until trial. I thought this would finally shut him down. Instead, it seemed to ignite something darker in him. He began stalking us, parking across the street in his car for hours, just watching. We called the police again and again, but as long as he stayed on the sidewalk, they were useless. One night, a crash shattered the silence. I bolted upright. Dad was already at the door, gripping a bat like he was ready for war. A rock had shattered the living room window. Tied to it was a sick message. "Why are you keeping my daughter from me?" The cops bagged the rock and note, promised extra patrols. But no patrol could calm my nerves. I was unraveling, paranoid, anxious, terrified to close my eyes. Luna picked up on my fear. She cried more, slept less. I felt like I was losing the one job I had left, to protect her. My mom gently suggested therapy. She found Dr. Leanne Hill, trauma therapist for postpartum moms. I resisted, until one more sleepless night broke me. Her office felt more like a safe haven than a clinic. She let me speak, never flinching, as I haltingly described the nightmare. I held back the darkest parts, but she saw them anyway. Your mind is doing what it must to survive, she told me. You're not broken. You're protecting yourself and your baby. For the first time in months, someone truly saw me. For the first time, someone didn't look at me like I was broken. Dr. Blake recognized my fear for what it was. Survival instinct, not delusion. She gently encouraged me to meet others like me, mothers surviving chaos, trying to rebuild from the ashes. The idea of leaving Luna, even for an hour, made my chest tighten with panic. But my mom stepped in like a lifeline, offering to stay with Luna while I took one tiny step toward healing. The meeting took place in a plain, warm room downtown, a sanctuary for tired, bruised women like me. I wasn't alone. The room held 8 other mothers, each carrying invisible scars and sleepless nights. Skylar's calm voice and kind eyes made me feel like I'd stepped into a place where no one would doubt my pain. She didn't press. She simply opened the floor, letting us unfold our stories one guarded layer at a time. When it was my turn, I whispered the bare minimum, just a rough separation and new motherhood. But my voice trembled. After the group ended, a warm, confident woman named Monica came up to me. Her twin daughters were crawling beside her. I left my ex when he started tracking my every move during pregnancy, she said quietly. Her honesty was like a lifeline. We traded contacts and became daily support for each other. Monica never made me feel crazy. If I messaged her in the middle of the night, convinced Travis was outside, she replied instantly. She sent me articles, podcasts, and sometimes just, "You're safe, I'm here." That message alone got me through some dark nights. Travis spiraled. He emailed my parents, aunts, cousins, painting me as a dangerous mother with mental issues. He said I was denying him access to his child out of vengeance. He messaged former colleagues and even tracked down Alicia, my college roommate I hadn't seen in nearly a decade. "She's losing it," he wrote. "Please help her." Alicia sent the message to me with a note. "This is unsettling." After we spoke on the phone and I explained the truth, she was appalled. "I'm so sorry. I won't let him use me like that again," she promised. The custody hearing loomed like a storm cloud. As the date crept closer, Travis's behavior became more desperate. He made fake profiles to slip past my blocks. Letters showed up at my parents', some begging, others filled with veiled threats. Once, he crossed a new line, sending roses to Dr. Blake's clinic with a creepy note. "Thank you for supporting my delusional wife." The thought of facing him in court made my stomach twist. Dr. Blake coached me on breathing methods and mental anchors to stay present. Dana promised I wouldn't have to exchange a single word with Travis. Security would be tight. I tossed and turned all night, haunted by thoughts of what could go wrong. What if the judge thought I was exaggerating? What if Travis was granted alone time with Luna? What if he disappeared with her? My mom cradled Luna while I paced like a caged animal. "We've got proof," she whispered. Even with Dana's certainty, my fear clung to me like a second skin. That morning, I chose a plain navy dress and flats. Neat, modest, forgettable. Dad drove me downtown. Mom stayed back with the baby. I couldn't stomach the idea of her near Travis. As soon as I stepped inside, nausea climbed up my throat. Dana met me at the front, clipboard in hand, calm as ever. She reminded me, "Stay neutral, don't react, no matter what he says." And then, there he was. Travis, leaner, pale, and twitchy. He looked haggard. Gaunt cheeks, heavy bags under his eyes. His gaze found me. It was sharp, almost predatory. I froze mid-step. Dad shielded me instantly. Dana whisked me away into a small office nearby. "Breathe," she whispered, then left to talk to the bailiff. When she came back, she said I'd use the private entrance. No chance of crossing paths with him again. The courtroom felt like a dream I couldn't wake from. Travis's attorney called me unstable, even accused me of weaponizing trauma for custody. My fingers dug into the chair as if it were the only thing keeping me grounded. Then Dana laid it all out. Recordings, screenshots, witness statements from nurses who saw Travis's control firsthand. With every damning piece of evidence, I felt Travis's stare burn into my skin like acid. When the judge announced a short recess, I bolted to the bathroom and vomited violently. Dana was right behind me, steadying me, whispering that I was holding strong. She reassured me. The judge wasn't buying Travis's act. We were turning the tide. When we returned, the courtroom felt electric as the judge delivered the verdict. Travis would get just one monitored visit per month. No privacy, no trust, and only at a family center with a court-appointed supervisor. He was also ordered into therapy and parenting rehab. A wave of relief hit me like warm rain. It wasn't a full victory, but it was something. I had hoped he'd be cut off completely, but this was more than I dared to expect. As we walked out, Travis called out, desperate, pathetic. I didn't even flinch. That night, I finally slept through the night without waking up in fear. Luna was safe. I could finally breathe. We had space to plan, without Travis lurking over us. But peace never lasts long when you've got a ghost like Travis. 2 days later, I dared to take Luna out for fresh air. For the first time in months, I felt safe walking alone. We strolled to a quiet park just down the street. I gave Luna a gentle push on the swing, then froze. A man was watching us. It took one heartbeat to recognize him, Travis. I scooped up Luna and sprinted, dialing my dad with shaking fingers. By the time Dad reached the street, Travis had vanished. We called the cops, but without footage or threats, their hands were tied. Technically, he hadn't broken the restraining order, just danced around it. And just like that, I was a prisoner in my own life again. Dr. Blake urged me to log each encounter, to build a case for stalking. Dana agreed. Each incident was another nail in Travis's legal coffin. In the following weeks, Travis became my living shadow. Grocery runs, coffee dates, even therapy. He showed up like a curse. He never spoke, just stared, like a wolf circling its prey. I filed report after report, but it was like screaming into a void. No action, no answers. My dad turned the house into a mini fortress with cameras on every corner. Theo, my tech wizard brother-in-law, created a custom app that pinged us the moment any motion was detected at night. We scrambled our schedule. New times, new places, new patterns every week. But even with all that, I felt his eyes somewhere. Always. Then one morning, a stuffed bear appeared on our doorstep. Silent, eerie. No note, no reason, just placed like a message that only I was meant to understand. Not a blip on the footage. It was as if the bear had materialized from nowhere. I grabbed it with shaking hands and dumped it without crossing the threshold. The first court-mandated visit between Travis and Luna loomed like a storm cloud. I was unraveling, sleepless, pacing, barely holding it together. Dana tried to soothe me, saying experts would monitor every second. Part of me screamed to run, to disappear and never look back. But I showed up. Because the law gave me no other choice. The family center looked like a cheerful lie. Bright walls, laughter painted over tension. Jasmine, the calm-eyed supervisor, laid out the rules like a script for survival. Travis got 60 minutes. I got 60 minutes of agony in the next room. I kissed Luna like it might be the last time, then let her go. That hour stretched into forever, my heart pounding at every sound. I stared at my phone like it could tell me if she was safe. Jasmine returned with Luna in her arms. No tears, just quiet. According to her, Travis had behaved, read stories, played gently. Relief never came, just more dread. Travis wore the perfect mask for the cameras. What if the mask slipped when no one was watching? As we left, I saw him lurking in his car, eyes fixed on us. He broke protocol just to watch us. The court's rule was clear, separate arrival and departure times to prevent any run-ins. But Travis always found a way. I threw Luna into her car seat and slammed the door shut, my heart already pounding. The moment I backed out of the parking lot, I spotted his headlights in the mirror. Travis. I called Dad, barely holding my voice steady. He's behind me. Head to the nearest station, Dad ordered. Travis's car was tailing mine, 2, maybe 3 cars back. My fingers clenched the wheel so tight I thought it might snap. At the red light, he dared to pull up next to me, window down, waiting. I stared dead ahead, jaw clenched, refusing to acknowledge him. The instant the light changed, I cut sharply toward the police station. Travis's car kept going, but my breath stayed shallow. At the station, he'd vanished. I gave my statement again. The officer's face didn't even change, just another line in their overstuffed file. That night, my phone lit up. A message from an unknown number. She's your mirror. One day she'll know who truly made her. My skin crawled. I showed Dana the message the next morning. Her expression turned to steel. We're going back to court. The court date was set for next week. Meanwhile, Dana insisted I go off-grid, somewhere Travis wouldn't dare guess. Monica didn't hesitate. Take the guest room, she said. With her husband gone and extra space, it felt like a safe haven. I moved in that night. We kept our location secret. Only my parents knew. No posts, no slip-ups. The night before court, I tucked Luna into the travel crib and stared at the ceiling, nerves on fire. Just past midnight, rustling outside. Wind, I whispered to myself. Then, a sharp, deliberate scratching at the window. I messaged Monica. Seconds later, she burst in, phone already dialing. Together, we parted the blinds, and there he was, a shadow slinking through the yard. Monica smashed the panic button. Alarms shrieked, floodlights exploded on. He bolted into the dark. Cops arrived fast. Footprints led to the window. A screwdriver left behind like a calling card. Someone had tried to break in, and I didn't need proof. My gut already knew his name. Neither of us slept a wink that night. The shadows outside stayed in our minds. At dawn, Monica's brother showed up to watch the house while we prepared for court. This time, with backup. I brought Luna with me. No way was I letting her out of my sight, not even for a second. Security at the courthouse was visibly ramped up. Dana had made sure of that after the break-in. Dana insisted on extra precautions. She wasn't taking any chances. Travis strutted in with a new lawyer, a smug man in a designer suit who reeked of arrogance. He tried to get close in the hallway, but the bailiff blocked him with a firm hand and a warning glare. The hearing was short, but the tension in that room was suffocating. Travis's attorney smirked as he claimed the messages were untraceable, and the man at Monica's house could have been anyone. He implied I was paranoid, inventing threats out of thin air, unstable and dramatic. This, he said, proves her emotional instability. Dana stood tall, laying out a clear pattern. Travis's stalking wasn't isolated, it was building. He coincidentally showed up at every store, park, and cafe I visited. Anonymous gifts on the porch. A car tailing me through traffic. Always just out of reach. Add in the message and the attempted break-in, and suddenly it wasn't paranoia. It was a timeline of terror. The judge leaned forward, face grave. He saw it too. He extended the order for a year, halted Travis's visits, and demanded a full psychological exam, plus anger management. Travis was also stripped of any firearms and told to stay 500 feet away from me, my daughter, and every place we set foot in. As I exited the courtroom, I felt it. The burn of his gaze on my back. I pulled Luna closer and didn't look back. Outside, Dana squeezed my shoulder. You did it, she said, but her eyes were still scanning. He's not done. That afternoon we drove back to my parents, tired, shaken, but safer. With the strengthened protective order and Jake's visit suspended, I felt safer there than at Renee's. My dad had upgraded the security system again, adding motion sensors and glass break detectors. For a while, the silence was unnerving, but welcome. No more Travis, no more twisted surprises, just calm. I finally exhaled. For once I could breathe. Luna bloomed, sitting up, babbling nonstop, a light in the chaos. I took her to the park, shopped with Mom, even had coffee with Monica, without scanning every shadow. Then came the emails, not from Travis, but from mutuals, old classmates, ex-colleagues, even distant cousins. Travis had gotten to them first, spinning tales of concern over my fragile state of mind. He claimed I was battling postpartum psychosis, hallucinating threats, and keeping his daughter away. Some forwarded his lies with a bland, "Thought you should see this." Others reached out gently, unsure who to believe. A few even echoed his words. Maybe I should get help or let Travis explain. I was livid. Travis had found a new loophole, emotional warfare through social circles. He was isolating me, making allies question my sanity. I sent it all to Dana. She said it helped prove ongoing harassment, but legally, it was murky. Nothing overtly threatening, just corrosive. Dr. Blake recommended a neutral reply, firm, but not confrontational. "Thanks for checking in. I'm safe and managing a difficult situation involving my ex. I appreciate your understanding." Most backed off after my message, but the trust was fractured. I felt stripped bare, my social armor cracked. Travis had turned every old connection into a potential spy. One evening, while Mom bathed Luna and I folded her old clothes, my phone buzzed, unknown caller. Normally, I'd ignore it. A woman named Vanessa introduced herself. She worked with Travis. My finger hovered over end call, but her next words rooted me to the floor. "His desk is covered in pictures of your daughter. New ones. He says he sees her all the time." My chest seized. Ice flooded my veins. The only new photos of Luna were behind digital locks or shared in private family chats. So how the hell did Travis get them? Vanessa said she'd overheard Travis bragging about following me, watching from windows. At first, she thought he was just grieving, until she caught him whispering into his phone about getting his family back no matter what. I thanked her through trembling lips. I called Dana before the fear could settle. We'd need Vanessa to give a sworn statement. I wasn't sure she'd risk crossing Travis. That night, I double-checked every lock, every latch. I pulled Luna's crib next to my bed. Every creak in the house felt like a threat. At 3 a.m., my phone clicked softly and lit up. A notification. "Your location has been shared with Travis." My heart stopped. I almost dropped the phone. I locked down everything, new passwords, scanned for tracking apps. Theo arrived at dawn, toolbox in hand. He dissected my phone like a bomb tech. There it was, a microscopic tracker embedded inside the case. No app, no trace, just silent surveillance. Someone, Travis, had planted it himself. I replayed every chance encounter in my head. Maybe the coffee shop, maybe the playground. He only needed seconds. Theo got me a new phone, new number, no location services. I felt gutted, watched, hunted. Dana suggested we push for an emergency court session. The tracker was hard proof. Travis had crossed the line. With Vanessa's testimony, we had him. But before we could strike, Travis struck first. I was alone in the house, just me and baby Luna. My parents were at a routine checkup. Everything felt painfully ordinary. I had just tucked Luna in for her nap when tires crunched on the driveway gravel. Through the curtains, I spotted a delivery van. A man in uniform walked up with a big box. I hadn't ordered anything, but baby items came often. As I reached for the tablet, he looked straight at me, and I froze. Travis, disguised, but unmistakable. I slammed the door instinctively, but he rammed it open, shoving past me. I screamed, bolting for the kitchen. He tackled me before I could even reach the keypad. "I just want my daughter," he muttered, calm and chilling. "You can't keep her from me. She's mine too." I replayed Dr. Blake's training in my mind. "Stay calm." I steadied my breath, spoke firmly. I reminded him he was breaking the law, again. "If you walk out now, you might still have a chance." Travis let out a dead, bitter laugh. "I'm done with your games," he spat. "She's coming with me, forever." He headed for the hallway, toward Luna's room. I couldn't let him reach her. I snatched the nearest thing, a glass vase. I swung it hard. It smashed against his shoulder. He staggered back, stunned. I darted around him, blocking his path. Travis's face twisted into something inhuman. He lunged, grabbing my arms with brutal force. I felt bones creak. I'd have bruises for weeks. I fought like hell, kicking, scratching, screaming like an animal. We slammed into the coffee table, books and glass scattering like shrapnel. Amid the chaos, my fingers touched my phone. My thumb slammed the SOS button, just in time, before Travis smacked the phone across the room. He was too wrapped up in his rage to notice. "Why do you keep fighting me?" he roared. "You did this. If you just obeyed, none of this would be happening." Luna's wails pierced through the chaos. Her cries lit something twisted in Travis's eyes. He slammed me into the wall like I was nothing. Then he bolted, charging toward the hallway. I dove after him, latching onto his legs like a lifeline. We crashed down, limbs tangled. Travis's boot drove into my stomach, knocking the breath out of me. Agony ripped through me, but I clung tighter. As Travis tore loose, the front door exploded open. Anthony, my retired cop neighbor, stormed in like a lion. He slammed Travis to the ground with precise fury. "They're coming. You're safe now," he said. "Check on your baby. I've got him." I bolted to the nursery like a woman possessed. Her face was soaked with tears, but she was alive. I hugged her so tight my arms ached. Travis's voice was a distant monster, shouting and snarling. I didn't move an inch until the sirens howled outside. Officers stormed in and cuffed him without hesitation. He turned his head, one final glare, cold, venomous, inhuman. That look promised war, but for now we'd survived. Anthony stayed beside me like a silent guardian. My mom swept up Luna with trembling hands. My dad crushed me into his chest. "It's over," he whispered, not even believing it himself. I wanted that to be true, but the chaos told a different story. I knew it deep in my gut. This nightmare wouldn't end until Travis was out of our lives forever. And this time, I was done being afraid. I called Dana the second I caught my breath. My hands trembled as I recounted the nightmare. She was at my door in minutes. She photographed every bruise, every shattered object. "This is the nail in his coffin," she said. Travis was already in custody. Dana swore he wouldn't see the light of day. My parents refused to leave my side. Sleep was a stranger that night. Every creak, every gust of wind made me flinch. I checked Luna's breathing every 5 minutes. Mom stepped in and ordered me to rest. Morning came with Dana's update. Travis was slammed with charges: restraining order violation, forced entry, assault, attempted kidnapping, no bail, too dangerous. Relief washed over me like warm sunlight. I sat down with Zoe, a calm, reassuring voice in the chaos. She walked me through the legal maze ahead and linked me to trauma counselors and resources. Days passed, then Vanessa called again. She'd heard the news and needed to talk. I thanked her for possibly saving my life. She hesitated, eyes darting. "There's more." We met at a quiet cafe near my parents' house. Gabby came along, holding Luna close. Vanessa looked over her shoulder every few seconds. She slid a small USB across the table, hand shaking. He planned everything. For months, he documented it all, on his work computer. How he'd snatch Luna and vanish. I couldn't bring myself to touch the thing. "How did you get this?" I whispered. "It found it after his arrest," she said. Instead of files, Travis's disturbing journal was discovered and reported. Vanessa had quietly saved a copy before everything went to the authorities. "There's more," she murmured. Travis wasn't acting alone. His parents were deeply involved. My stomach clenched. Ellen and Robert, once so cordial, had played a hidden role all along. They had sent congratulatory flowers after Luna's birth, empty gestures masking a much darker intent. Vanessa revealed they had funded Travis's legal fight and even arranged a hideaway for when he snatched Luna. They believed every lie Travis fed them, that I was unstable, vindictive, and cruel. I rushed the USB to Dana. The forensic team confirmed everything, every chilling detail. Travis had meticulously mapped out a kidnapping destination, a remote family cabin far from reach. He even researched which countries would protect him from extradition. The evidence was overwhelming. Travis's trial was still months away, but now his parents faced scrutiny too. Dana filed to expand the restraining order to include Travis's parents. The judge didn't hesitate. For the first time since Luna's birth, I felt a flicker of peace. Travis was behind bars. His parents were legally barred. The threat had faded, but fear lingered. I still checked locks, still flinched at creaks in the dark. Nightmares haunted my sleep. Visions of Travis tearing through the door to steal my daughter haunted every rest. Dr. Blake reassured me, healing doesn't follow a straight line. Trauma doesn't vanish overnight. You're safe now, she said gently. What matters is you're moving forward, no matter how slow. I stayed in therapy twice a week. I found strength in a circle of women who understood my pain. I searched for a new home, somewhere untouched by Travis, a blank slate for Luna and me. My parents found us a safe little haven, a modest 2-bedroom with a doorman who knew our names. The apartment was just far enough to feel like freedom, but close enough for help to arrive if I needed it. Packing up that final box, I nearly cried. Every corner of my parents' home had sheltered me from a storm I never saw coming. That night in the new place, silence felt like danger. That first night, I clutched a flashlight like a weapon. The apartment creaked like it was breathing. Even with reinforced locks and cameras on every entry point, my body stayed tense until sunrise. Luna's crib was pressed against my bed like a barrier between me and the past. Day by day, normalcy returned. I enrolled Luna in a daycare 2 blocks away and picked up remote projects from my old job. My sister brought over plants, rugs, and framed prints, every corner reclaimed from Travis's memory. Monica became family. Her twins called me Auntie. But the trial date loomed. Dana didn't sugarcoat it. I'd have to relive everything, every bruise, every scream, every time I thought I might not survive. I had to tell it all. For Luna. For the woman I used to be. A week before trial, my lawyer handed me a cream envelope with no return address. "It's from Ellen," she said cautiously. I froze. The envelope felt heavier than it should have. I told myself not to read it, but I did. The letter shook me. Ellen confessed that she and Robert had bought every lie Travis sold them. They thought I was the villain, that I was poisoning Luna against them, that Travis was just a loving father denied his rights. But after the footage, the maps, the recorded calls, and those chilling journal entries, reality hit them hard. Their son wasn't misunderstood. He was dangerous. Ellen closed by promising they wouldn't fight the restraining order. They'd keep their distance. Maybe someday I'd let them see their granddaughter. But they knew they had no right to ask. I folded the letter back into its envelope, hands trembling. A part of me wanted to believe they meant it. Another part screamed that it was too little, too late. I placed it in a drawer and locked it. That chapter wasn't ready to be opened again. When the day came, I wore the blue dress that made me feel steady, like armor made of fabric. I walked into the courtroom not as a victim, but as a survivor ready to speak the truth. My mom held Luna outside the courtroom, rocking her gently. Dad and Gabby flanked me like sentinels, shielding me with their quiet strength. Dr. Blake had prepped me for this moment, but nothing could soften the blow of seeing Travis in person again. In his orange jumpsuit, Travis looked diminished, like a balloon deflated of all its menace. He avoided me at first, but the moment I stood to testify, his gaze snapped to mine like a trap. I felt ice slide down my spine, but I didn't flinch. I turned toward Dana, clinging to the strength in her silent nod. Testifying felt like being stripped raw. Every word was a wound reopened under Travis's stare. His attorney tried spinning stories, blaming hormones, twisting truth, but the footage, bruises, and GPS logs cut through the lies. When I stepped down, it was like shedding a weight I'd carried for years. I could finally breathe. The verdict came swift and sharp. Guilty. Every charge. No hesitation. 8 years. Minimum 5 behind bars. The sentence wasn't forever, but it was enough for us to start again. The judge's final blow was poetic. Travis would never come near us again. Legally sealed. She's still mine. Travis spat as he was led away, voice like venom. But his words shattered like glass against a wall. I wasn't his victim anymore. He couldn't touch us. Stepping into the sunlight, arms wrapped around Luna, I felt the impossible. Hope. It wasn't just the absence of fear, it was the rebirth of hope. Fragile but real, blooming like spring after a brutal storm. Luna was blossoming, grabbing table legs, giggling at shadows, her tiny voice forming half words that melted my heart. She deserved sunshine, laughter, birthday candles, not a life dictated by my trauma or his violence. Slowly, our days formed rhythms, diaper bags and bedtime stories, laughter echoing in the hallway. I dove into work again, freelancing from my kitchen table, deadlines nestled between playtime and naptime. At daycare, Luna bloomed, finger painting, singing songs, bonding with kids who didn't know the word trauma. I found a tribe, women who carried scars like mine, but still laughed, still lived. I dipped my toes into dating again, coffee dates with kind strangers, knowing I had the right to be more than just a survivor. Even if sparks didn't fly, those moments reminded me I was still a woman with stories, with wants, with a heart. A year of peace, shattered by a letter. Travis, from behind bars, dared to demand visitation rights. Dana stayed calm, but I saw it in her eyes. This was a man who didn't know how to quit. Fury surged through me. How dare he claw his way back into our lives after everything? But the revelation hit me like sunlight through clouds. I wasn't scared anymore. He could scribble threats till his hands bled. They meant nothing now. He couldn't touch our world. The judge tossed out Travis's petition without blinking. No hearing, no drama. His parents stayed silent, never challenged the restraining order. Still, Ellen mailed birthday and holiday cards, like nothing had happened. I tossed the cards in a shoebox in the closet, unsure if they'd ever see daylight. As her second birthday crept closer, I caught myself marveling at the distance between who we were then and who we are now. The nightmares had finally loosened their grip. I stopped checking the locks 5 times before bed. I took Luna to the park without flinching at every stranger. We threw a tiny backyard party at my parents'. Just us, Monica and her kids, and some daycare buddies. Watching her stumble after Bubbles with frosting still on her cheeks, my dad grinning, bubble wand in hand, I felt still for the first time in years. A quiet, solid peace settled in me, unexpected and completely earned. That night, with frosting still on my shirt, I sipped wine under the stars and exhaled. Dr. Blake texted, one of her gentle, "How are you holding up?" check-ins. I smiled as I texted back, "We're good, better than I ever thought we'd be." And we truly were. It wasn't picture perfect, but it was ours. I still had days where ghosts crept in through the cracks. I still wrestled with the question I knew would come one day. Where's my dad? There were still days when bitterness bubbled up, grief for what Travis had stolen. But we were free. We were healing. We were creating a life no one else could touch. As the city glittered outside our window, I made a quiet vow, one only a mother could make. Travis wouldn't be the headline of our lives. What he did was a single chapter. Ugly, yes, but not the whole story. And I would write the rest in light, in color, in courage. The next morning, soft baby palms tapped my cheeks awake. "Mama," she chirped, one of her perfect little words. I scooped her up, burying my face in her soft curls. "Morning sunshine," I whispered. "Let's go conquer the day." She nodded like it was the best idea she'd ever heard, already wiggling toward her toys. I watched her wobble toward her stuffed elephant, her steps wobbly but determined. Her tiny legs weren't steady yet, but they were learning, just like mine had.